In our last video, we added the viewport and we started adding responsive design, mainly making fluid design for our overall site width, which can now get smaller, but then also using percentages for our main and our asides so that those also have fluid width. You notice by using percentages that this gutter also naturally is going to get narrower as things get shrunken down in fluid design. So that percentage is a good way to keep things in perspective, in ratio, or however you want to think about it. So that's definitely one way to go. One of the trickiest parts about responsive design are any images that you place in content. So even though these elements are responsive with fluid design, our images are not, and so it's going to lock it out. And I think with Safari it only lets me go so narrow. Let me show you this in Firefox. I think Firefox allows us to make things a little bit narrower. All right, so you can see here in Firefox, as I get narrower, this image now busts out and our responsive design breaks down and the images don't stay within their content boxes. So we got things that we can do to fix that. All right, so we're gonna mainly do that by making our images also be responsive. A couple different ways to do it, but I'll show you the way that W3 Schools recommends. And that's going to actually be with a local style. And most of the time you want to avoid local styles, but since images, as you place images for size, images quite often have a unique dimension of height and width. So writing a global style for all of your widths and heights of images is probably not going to be practical. So that's where maybe a local style is going to work best. So let's come to our first one, which is the logo up in the header area. And you'll notice that we have our width and height set, but those are in fixed pixels. It's always a good idea. It's always best to tell the search or the browser what the width and the height is. Otherwise, it has to spend time guessing. A lot of times it's going to guess fine. It probably won't be that slow, but we need to be doing everything we can to help it out. But what we're going to do is we're going to replace these alt tags, these particular attribute tags, and we're going to add a style attribute to set the width and height instead. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is a style, and we had width, and we're going to use 100%. But we want to tell it to be a max width. Now this is only going to work if your image is sized to the pixel dimensions that you need it to be at. That's actually going to be very important. So you won't be able to take a raw photo that's 2,000 pixels wide. This 100% will be way too big. So you need to size your images to the size you're going to use them at. Next here we have max width of 100%, and we'll choose a height of auto. Okay, let's come down to our next image. We're going to do the same thing there. We're going to replace width with style equals, and then we'll have a max width colon of 100% and a height of auto. We had one more image, and we're going to replace the normal HTML attributes with a style attribute that designates the width and height. So again, max width 100%, height auto. We'll go ahead and hit save. Let's go see what that does. I'll test it on the Firefox because that's the one that allowed us to show it narrower. Now as I bring this in to shrink it, you'll notice that the image shrinks with it. And even the logo up at the top will shrink some, although I think that's the narrowest I can get it, so the logo won't shrink much. But this image now is staying inside the width of its container. And so is the one that was down lower. So with responsive design, we can make those flex in size with fluid design on our images. Now in some cases there's a point where things just don't look good when they're so narrow. Like right here you'll notice that at this particular viewing width that this text looks a little scrunched in between there. And even over here you're starting to see the Donate Now button starting to get too big for and sticks out of the side, the bottom side of the aside. So this would be a good time to actually make all of this content just go full width with one column. There's really no need to try to keep two parts of content side by side like this. So with the clearing of floats, which we'll do next, and learn and how we do media queries, you'll learn how we'll make this full width and this also full width, but it'll tuck down below. And so it will stack on each other sequentially. And we do that with what's called media queries, and that's what's coming up next.